Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu salam, rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Tariq Khalid. I'd like to welcome to our program here at Sharjah Media Corporation. Doing good, and we hope by Allah's permission and grace that all the believers out there that you're doing good and everything is working for you. And working for you, I mean like it is working for you now in relationship to your hereafter. That whatever it is that you're doing, whatever good that you're doing now, you see it and you're aware and conscious of it, that there's benefit in this life, and more importantly, there's benefit in hereafter. And that the next aspect of your life, which will be the grave, that what you're doing now, the deeds, the good deeds that you're doing, inshallah, by Allah's permission, will be a means of your grave being a garden of paradise. And that's what we're looking for. That's what we're looking for. The next phase of our existence, that we're not just locked into this world, but we're thinking of the next phase of our existence. And in that, of course, this will be the beginning of the hereafter. And that this will be a good sign for us. That it will be good for us and easy for us on the day of judgment. It will be good and easy, and what we will enter paradise. And ultimately, this is our aim, to please Allah, that by Allah's permission, that we end up in paradise. And of course, the discipline of this world, okay, is something that we implement in our life with true faith and belief in our hereafter. And restricting ourselves from many of the things that are commonly practiced in this world and today in modern societies and historically in the past, focusing on obeying the commandments of Allah, believing that Allah is going to give us the paradise. Allah is going to bless us. And here and now, because we find today that many people keep talking about the here and now, brother, but what about here and now, brother? You know, my situation right now is not good. You know, I need some help right now. I need some help right now. My situation is, subhanallah. Well, we need to understand something, that this world is easy. It's easy for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's easy for Allah to change your condition. But what has been said, Allah will not change the condition of a people till they change that what is in their hearts. So we need to look at our hearts. We look at our hearts and see, what is the condition of my heart? Is my heart turned towards Allah? Where do you stand? People say, well, what do you mean by that, brother? When you say, my heart, what are you saying? I said, spiritually, where are you? Where are you? Where is your mindset? Where are you thinking? What do you relate to? How do you relate to the society that you live in? How do you relate to the people that you live with? How do you relate to your family? And how do you interrelate that with your Lord? Does your Lord count? Is he a part of your life? Or just when you're in trouble, when you need something, then you say, oh God, please help me. I can't get out of this myself. So I'm calling on you because I know I can't do anything. This is the only time. Let's put it in perspective, because we're talking about doing good. Suppose you only do good when it's advantageous for you. So what do you think your Lord is, who is the creator and sustainer and knows everything? So only you call on him when you're in need. You don't praise him. You don't thank him. You don't worship him. You don't encourage others to worship him. You just continue on your life. Like life is going to continue forever, which we know it's not going to happen. And all of us know that we're going to leave this world. But you need to see yourself and see, okay, where am I going? What am I doing? Am I just kind of in limbo? Am I living in neutral? Do I have any commitment to anything? Or where is my commitment? And the reason why I'm addressing this, because many of our people out here today, they have no commitment. Or their commitment is only to something in their material existence. It is limited to the worldly things only. And whatever benefit that they can get, they're only concerned about that benefit for themselves. There are too many people today who think like this. Well, me. They don't turn upside down and says, we. No, they think about themselves and themselves only. It says, well, listen, brother, I got to look out for number one. Nobody is saying, don't take care of yourself. We could never say that. But we need to ask the question, at what expense? Is it the animal kingdom, survival of the fittest, meaning I have the might, and might makes right. So whatever I do, because I have the ability to oppress you, then, hey, that's your problem. I have it, you don't. Hey, I'm at the top of the food chain, you're at the bottom. That's your problem. It's not my problem. That's your problem. You work with that. I like being at the top of the food chain. Do you want me to be on the bottom of the food chain? I'm not exchanging places with you. I can't help that. You say you believe in God. God put me here. God put you there. So you have people who have all of these kinds of arguments as a justification for their actions. But we believe what? In a just God. We need to understand that. We believe in a just God. And we need to understand that we have to account for our deeds and actions, each one of us, regardless of where we stand in the society in which we live. We are held accountable for that which is in our hand. So the person who has the status, the wealth, the fame, the fortune, whatever it might be, he has accountability on that level. The person who has none of that has accountability on the level that he is on. No one will escape that. And we need to understand that. Everyone will come before Allah as he is, with what he has, what his deeds are. So we need to look at that and put it in perspective. So a person who is of the, let's say, set of circumstances, the privileged, he has a huge challenge. He has a huge challenge. At the same time, the person who's underprivileged has a huge challenge also. Why? Because if he's looking at the guy who's privileged, he's always looking up at that guy, and he develops jealousy for this person, and he develops actual issues because of this. Anxiety because of this, as opposed to dealing with his situation and believing in Allah, believing in God, and believing that God is just. Then this becomes an issue for him when he comes before Allah. And the same thing, the person of sustenance, who has sustenance, substance and sustenance. He has to be accountable. He has to realize, oh no, that me, I did this. No. He has to realize that this is only by the permission of God. It's only by the permission of Allah. That whatever intellect that he may have, whatever connections that he has made, is only by Allah's permission. So he becomes accountable in relationship to that. And many people in denial on both sides, in denial about these things. So let's see what Allah says in Surah number 2, verse number 82. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Those who believe and do good works, they are the companions of the gardens. They will abide therein. Those who believe and do good works. Allah doesn't say the rich. Allah doesn't say the poor. He said those, what? Number one, who believe. And then once you believe, do good. Think about it. And the same thing in Surah number 2, Surah Baqarah, verse number 105. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allah will choose for his special mercy those whom he will. He is the Lord of grace unbounding. He will choose who he wants. Again, understanding who, we need to understand this and put it in perspective. Who does Allah want? Allah wants the people, over and over again you hear him talk about the people who do righteous deeds and enjoin good conduct, enjoin righteousness, and do good. And what is that? The people who bow down and pray to Allah regularly, submit to Allah in belief, those who show concern for Allah's creation. It is clear who are the people that Allah loves. So striving to do good, we need to understand that in this way, inshallah, we begin to move in the path where we can say the path of Allah, the path where we begin to move to get closer to Allah and closer to the obedience of Allah. So under all circumstances, we want to try to do what is right. And many times that becomes a challenge, to do what is right. People say, well, it's easy to do what's wrong, and it's so common today, it's accepted. He says, well, then that becomes a bigger challenge to do what is right, doesn't it? And of course, that distinguishes you from others, doesn't it? And if you're doing this for the pleasure of Allah, then you get the benefit from it. You get the reward in this world and the hereafter, inshallah. Same in Surah number 2, verse number 110. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Be steadfast in prayer and give regularly in charity. And whatever good you send forth for your souls before you, you will find it with Allah. For Allah sees well everything that you do. So Allah is saying here, be steadfast in your prayer and give in charity regularly. Allah sees, Allah knows. So these are the people who Allah is favoring. So I ask you out there, and I'm not attacking anybody. Okay. You know, I lived, almost half of my life as a non-Muslim. I was raised as a Christian, but I wasn't living, I had left basically Christianity when I was 16 years old. So I wasn't practicing any religion, but I believed in God. Okay. But I was not worshiping God, meaning I wasn't worshiping anything else. I believed in one God, but I was not worshiping God. I wasn't, how you can say, embracing any religion. I wasn't embracing God. I wasn't making effort to really learn about God until I got to a point in my life where I knew I needed to do something. But there was a gap in that time. And it's a mercy of Allah that I accepted Islam. Many of my friends died young. So their condition, Allah knows best what their condition is. Their condition was, of course, whatever it was, where they were when they died. But Allah blessed me to accept Islam. So the people out there who are listening, who you're not Muslim, whatever it is that you're following, we're calling you to we're saying what is good, and the best thing is Islam. And that is what Allah is saying. Allah is telling you, doing good means to worship Him in the way that He has prescribed for you to worship, to help others, to have the concern about your society. But we must not disconnect this. And unfortunately, this is what many people are doing. There are people who are doing a lot of good works globally in every society and making a lot of sacrifices for this on a lot of different levels. But they are not what Allah is saying here. Establish the prayer. Establish the prayer. This becomes what? Recognition of who is the one who's given you the ability to do good, and who will bless you with the rewards for that which you are doing good, because first of all, you identified who is your Lord, you worshiped Him in the way that He prescribed, you're doing the things what He said do, and you're giving praise to Allah for what it is that you have. So this becomes an invitation to others to obey Allah, to come and worship Him in the way that He has ordered us or ordained for us to worship. But we find, of course, many people today who are they're giving the invitation to themselves because they're looking for benefits in this world from that invitation. They're looking at the result that will add to their bank accounts. And they're cut off from the relationship with Allah. They have become addicted to the things of the world. And you can hear it in their speech. And unfortunately, they're doing many good things to help people. But ultimately, what is the most important assistance that a human being can get? To know his Lord. To understand how to obey his Lord. Why? Because now he puts his life in perspective, how he should live it. And he understands where he's going. Most of us today, when we think about where we're going, we think about our material existence. Where am I going in relationship to some material object or objective, which is limited? It is not connected to our hereafter. So when a person accepts Islam, he has the complete picture of his life, the complete life cycle or circle. Life and death is inseparable. because after death will come life. So it's a cycle. But if you don't understand it and you're only limited to this life, and you only think about this life and what you can obtain or maintain in this life without understanding how it relates to your hereafter, then of course you've been locked in a prison. Yes, the worst kind of prison that you can be in. And it's a dark hole, regardless of what you have in this world. The proof of it is, look at all of the people that have everything and look at their condition. Look at how many people we've seen very famous. They had all kinds of wealth. They've done many good things for people. People love them, and they commit suicide. And suicide can happen in a lot of different ways. Doesn't mean you're going to blow your brains out or OD on drugs. No. It could be suicidal behavior, where the person himself is just on this kind of continued path that you know is going to end up what in his death? He eats himself to death, as we've seen some very famous people do. He just keeps eating things which are not good for him. Eventually, boom, his heart, it's over, finished. It's predictable. So we need to understand these sicknesses that we're experiencing in modern society is coming from our lack of faith and implementation of that faith. Yes, all of it. People say, no, but brother, it's not that simple. You know, we have psychiatrists and psychologists, and we have this, and we have PhD on the PhD. It says very well. Let me ask you a question. Those psychiatrists and psychologists, I'm not against science. Let me ask you, how many of them are people who believe in Allah and who are worshiping Allah in the way He's prescribed? And let's distinguish these two things. Because we find that many of the people today of science today are the very people who are inviting people away from the remembrance of Allah. And they themselves are the sickest among our people because of this. Sure, they have all the prescriptions based on so-called scientific fact. But let me ask you, where's the prescription for your hereafter? Where's the prescription that's going to help you when you leave this world? There's no prescription that's going to keep you in this world. There's nothing that will keep you in this world when Allah has decreed for you to leave it. So let me ask you the question, who offers you the prescription when you leave this world? If you don't have it, then you better check out Islam today. My name is Tariq Khalid. I'd like to thank you for joining us here at Sharjah Media Corporation on doing good. And continue to do good and be faithful in this. But Allah calls you what? To prayer. So what does prayer mean? Allah calls you to submission. In what you're doing good, submit to Him, identify who He is, and get real. Quick, fast, in a hurry. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.